In a bright green village, nestled between rolling hills that seemed to kiss the sunshine, lived a cheerful little pig named Pippo. Now, Pippo was a pig with a great love for many things, but his greatest love of all was food. He adored the satisfying crunch of fresh carrots, the comforting warmth of just-baked cornbread, and the sweet burst of summer berries. But above all else, his heart belonged to apples. Every single time Pippo bit into a crisp, juicy red apple, his eyes would sparkle with pure, unadulterated happiness. The sweet juice would trickle down his chin, and he'd savor every last drop. One day, Pippo would often say, his voice full of conviction while he licked the sticky juice from his snout, "I am going to grow the juiciest, most delicious apples anyone has ever tasted." The other animals in the village, who were all very fond of Pippo, couldn't help but chuckle at his big dream. The old goat, known for his playful teasing, would bleat with a grin, "Pigs grow muddy footprints, Pippo, not apples." The wise old horse would nod his head gently and add, "Apples are for farmers and tall trees, my friend." But Pippo never let their light-hearted doubts bother him. He would just smile his happy pig smile and hold his dream close to his heart, like a secret, precious treasure. Then, one particularly sunny morning, as Pippo was trotting past the old windmill at the edge of the village, something tiny on the ground caught his eye. He leaned in closer. It was a single, perfect apple seed, small and dark and full of promise. He picked it up with the utmost care, cradling it in his hoof as if it were the most valuable gem in the world. "You and I," he whispered to the tiny seed, "are going to do something truly special together." With a new sense of purpose, Pippo set to work. He found a small, sunny patch of land right beside his cozy wooden house. It was the perfect spot. He cleared away the stray stones and weeds using his strong little snout and hooves. He dug into the earth gently, making a soft, welcoming bed for his treasure. Then, with a little prayer to the sun and the sky, he planted the seed. From that day forward, Pippo's routine changed. His life now revolved around this tiny, buried hope. Every single day, without fail, he would bring fresh water from the well and gently water the soil. As he did, he would sing happy, cheerful songs, his voice a happy little tune carried on the breeze. He would also talk to the ground, telling it stories about the warm sunshine, the gentle rain, and the importance of patience. But growing a dream is hard work, and sometimes it feels like nothing is happening at all. Days turned into weeks, and the patch of earth remained just a patch of earth. Pippo started to feel a little tired, and a small cloud of sadness sometimes drifted over him. Was the goat right? Were pigs only good for muddy footprints? But just as the doubt began to creep in, he would shake his head and remind himself of a wise old saying he once heard, "Good food takes time." And so he never, ever stopped caring for the tiny, invisible seed. One glorious morning, after a soft spring rain had washed the world clean, Pippo went out for his daily ritual. As he approached his special patch of land, he blinked. He rubbed his eyes. Was he seeing things? No. Poking its head bravely out of the dark soil was a tiny, vibrant green sprout. A sprout! Pippo squealed, his heart doing a little somersault in his chest. He was so overjoyed, he began to do a happy dance all around the little plant, being very, very careful not to step on it with his excited hooves. He had never seen anything so beautiful in his entire life. As the seasons danced their way through the year, the little sprout grew and grew. It stretched towards the sun, becoming a strong, healthy sapling, and then a magnificent apple tree with a sturdy trunk and branches covered in shiny, green leaves. Pippo became its dedicated guardian. He built a small fence to protect it from strong, gusty winds. During the long, dry days of summer, he shared his own water, making sure the tree never went thirsty. He He even found himself chasing away cheeky birds who wanted to nibble on the leaves and buds a little too early. The other animals of the village started to notice the change. The laughter had stopped long ago, replaced by a quiet, curious observation. They would watch Pippo from a distance, seeing the love and dedication he poured into his tree. "That pig is really serious," whispered the sheep to one another as they grazed nearby. "I've never seen anyone care for a tree so much," the cow would moo in agreement. Then, one magical autumn day, it happened. The tree, which had been bare all winter and green all summer, burst into a magnificent display of blossoms, which soon gave way to the most beautiful apples anyone had ever seen. They were perfectly round, a deep, glowing red, and they shone in the sunlight like thousands of tiny, edible suns. The sight was so breathtaking, it made the entire village pause and stare in wonder. With trembling hooves, Pippo approached his tree. He reached up and gently, reverently, picked one perfect apple. He wiped it clean on his side, its skin smooth and cool against his cheek. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes, and took a bite. Crunch! The sound was the most satisfying sound in the world. Juice exploded from the apple, splashing everywhere, showering his face in sweet, sticky nectar. His eyes flew open, wide with amazement and delight. "These are," he declared to the world, "the juiciest apples in the entire world." Soon, the sweet, intoxicating smell of fresh apples filled the air, drifting through the village like a delicious invitation. One by one, animals from all over came to see what the wonderful smell was. They gathered around Pippo's house, their eyes wide at the sight of the magnificent, fruit-laden tree. And what did Pippo do? He didn't hoard his treasure. He shared it. With a heart full of joy, he shared his apples with everyone. He gave them fresh, crunchy apples right off the branch. He pressed them into sweet, refreshing apple juice. He cut them into perfect slices for the little ones and even cooked up a large pot of warm, cinnamon-spiced apple stew for everyone to enjoy together. The goat who had once teased him took a bite and smiled, a drop of juice on his beard. The wise old horse nodded in deep respect. The birds, who were now welcome guests, chirped happily as they nibbled on the sweet fruit. "You were right, Pippo," they all said, their voices filled with admiration. "Dreams really do grow when you care for them with all your heart." From that day on, Pippo was no longer just Pippo the pig. He became known far and wide as Pippo, the pig who grew juicy apples. But more than that, he became a teacher. He taught everyone in the village a very important lesson. It doesn't matter who you are or what others think you can do. It doesn't matter if you're a farmer, a pig, or just a quiet dreamer with a tiny seed of an idea in your heart. If you work with love, if you practice patience, and if you act with kindness, something truly wonderful and beautiful will grow. And every time someone in that bright green village took a bite of a sweet, crunchy apple, they would smile. And in that smile, they would remember Pippo's simple, powerful lesson: always believe in your dream, and when it finally blossoms, be sure to share the goodness it brings with the entire world. Thank you so much for watching our story today. If you enjoyed Pippo's journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who has a big dream of their own. We'll see you next time.